Welcome to the latest tour of my new factory. This factory was started in version 0.9 and virtually finished, but as version 10.2 is already out now, I'm gonna show you with all the features that one has to offer. First things first, a list of mods that I'm using for this. As you can probably already see, you got the time speed mod at the top, which just increases the speed of the running speed of the game. We also have on here Robocharge, which just has a small robot charge station, so you don't have to have too many roboports lying around. And the other mod is the SSS, which is the square mod, which turns the inventory system back to the square system. So instead of having 100, it's back to 128. Right, research. As you can see, I've completed all the research. I'm going to start my tour near my mining outpost. As you can see, this is my mining outpost. Got lots of mines, or lots of electric mining drills, and my train station is right next to it. My fast inserters are inserting into chests, which then is waiting for the train to come around. And so am I. As you can see, it's quite big. Let's have a look where that train is. Looks like the train is at my main station, so I'm just going to give you a big overview of the big map and while we wait for the train to come around. Let's talk about the train now. Sorry, waiting for it as well. My train works on one big loop. As you can see, it goes right the way round and then back to the start again, with other loop off for different elements. Like this bottom here is a loop off for the mining, then we've got the main line, then we've got a little loop off here for oil, and loop off here for defence. This big block in the middle here is my solar and accumulator array. My main factory is here, my smelting factory is at the top here, and my train station is up there. Perhaps that might be a bit clearer. We have the oil down here with some coal, oil wells there which are linked into that directly. Then there's a couple of spot oil wells around my base, and then up here we have 3 oil wells onto that station, 4 onto that station, and the train's leaving now, and a few more over here to that station. So it looks like the train's coming. Looks like the train's here now, so I'll go back to the normal view. I see the train come in. And let's hop on board. The reason why we put the steel chests in between is simple of the stacking bonus. These ones on the outside can only take one off the bell at a time, so you'll never really fill up the train wagon very quickly. But these the outer ones run all the time, so it's got the time between here and the station, or loop back, in order to fill this up. Well, The ones near the train, they've only got the time of which the train is at the station, which in this case is 30 seconds. So as you can see, they're filling it up quite quickly. Seems we've got 4 here for that one. The steel chests themselves are actually emptying out quite quickly with the stack bonus, and the train is filling up. As you notice, while we're waiting for the train to go, down here we have an independent radar station, and picked the design up of the forums. Probably a bit overkill with the amount of solar panels and accumulators, but I've got the resources to burn, so I just decided to just plonk a radar station in off of my blueprint, which is that one there. As you can see, I just removed the panel and put the radar station in. It looks like the train's going. So this is probably a good time to zoom out as far as I can while you watch the train go around the outside of my base. This on your left is what's coming in from the other things, the other side. Down is a loop for defence with another remote radar station. Note they're not connected up to the power grid. It's mainly so I can see the train all around the network. We have a couple of oil pumps, jacks at the bottom. They're piped into the base. At the top here we've got little coal mining. Here we have a corner of defence, towers, robot port, and the station for the train. Got oil stores here and my refinery. I'll come back to that when we come back to that point. We have my main base with my research and my circuit factory. We have the logistics train station. The oil train station is a bit there. Then we see part of the smelting plant. Now we're just going back up to the north part of the base, where we have another defensive station. And here we have oil station, which I'll show you later. Then we have my defensive train, which is loaded up with all the stuff needed. And now we're just following the train all the way around. It goes up here again for another 2 defensive walls. And there's my other oil. Looks like it's catched up with one of my other trains. It seems to be taking a long route round this time round. Anyway, we're nearly there. Here we go. Here's the main train station. The only difference here, we have a few mining exploits, which is very close to the train station. So I'm going to get off right here because I can. I'm just going to go up here. This is just basically little mining, but it's also linked into the train station logistics network. We've also got a copper one down the bottom there with a radar station, and then we also have the coal stop for the trains. I do like the new radar station. It is a nice model. So to my train station. I've got I've got 4 stations set up at the moment, but with space for a couple more if I need to. So here I've just got unloading off the train, which you can see happening at the top here, which they unload it very quickly, and then the logistics bots take it from the purple chests or active providers and dump it into storage, which is down at the bottom here. Also, a couple of requests just to fill the trains up. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot of resources there. So how do I get the resources out? Well, I do that over here. Across the train tracks, carefully. I do it by putting requesters here and having it inserted onto belts. Notice that the logistics network stops just about the bottom of the requester there. So that's one network. Down here is a completely different network. As you can see, the ores coming in on belts. Notice the speedy corner trick. As for the smelters themselves, we've got a effectivity 2 modules in, which decreases energy consumption by 80%, which indirectly reduces pollution. They take off the belts. You need fast inserters for that because it's express belts. They have a normal smelting speed, and it puts into active providers, and there's a lot of them. You notice on the end of this copper line there's some smart inserters that are taking off a little bit of copper ore. That's for something a bit further down. The results are coming off on here and going into a big storage area, which is partly down here, partly on the other side, which, as you can see, has 2.6 million copper and 2.2 million iron plates and 1.5k steel, and a little bit of copper and iron ore. And the iron smelters are here with the original storage there. Same again here, they're taking off a little excess. And the little excess is coming up to this balancing. We can just change these ones around very quickly. This is so that we can roughly keep the copper plates and iron plates roughly the same, because iron is also used for steel, which is made in my little steel factory over here. It is little, but if you can see, it is beaconed all the way around. Beacons have got speed modules in, and these have also got speed modules in. So we have a speed module to have a boost of 200%, which is a smelting speed of 4. So they can come out very quickly. And these all make steel, which goes into active provider. So right, we now have a hell of a lot of resources. So you're wondering why those resources are up here and not in my base. Because these are set up in a network of their own. So that's network number 2. So we have the train one, and now we have the smelting storage one. Down here is the distribution part to the base itself. This is done with red wires, as you can see. We have linked smart inserters to red. These ones are set for 10,000 of each of them, 5,000 of them. 2 of them go down, carry on the red wire down. Now we're exiting that logistics network and entering the base logistic network, which which is pretty much here. We follow the red wire down. The red wire links to the chest. So the red network itself only has 10k of each and 5.9k still. So how this works is all the chests are linked together as one storage, and the smart inserters at the top will only put stuff on the belts when these chests get empty. And these chests won't get empty until it's requested in the base. So let's get down to that. I'm not going to go much, but here's my wall factory. Got a couple of furnaces for bricks and a bit of wool. But here's my circuit factory. One of those smart ideas that took off like a rocket and works, in my opinion, quite well. Let's start from the outside in, because that's the way it works. We have copper requesters into assembly trees. We got speed module set up, and we've also got effectivity, which gives this a 60% bonus, which is a crafting speed of 2. Because of the way copper is actually made, copper is made at half a second per two copper wires, or copper cables they're called. So if you have a smelting speed of that, so that halves that again. So instead of being half a second, it's now a quarter of a second a cycle, or an eighth of a second for each individual copper wire. Because these things make copper wire very quickly, there are 3 fast inserters, and yes, you do need 3. So that's the copper wire. You have a requester chest here to put steel plates on the outside. Copper wire goes on the inside. Now we have the basic circuits. These are just normal level 2 assemblers with the 2 activity models, and here we have smart inserters, 1 set up for iron and 2 set up for copper wires. I found this to be a better way of doing it, because the speed of which this goes means it really can get stuck waiting for other items. So we have the output of that goes onto this side of the belt here, and then on every corner we have smart inserters taking cables off onto these 2 little belts, and a fast inserter inserting them on this side here. On this corner here we have the plastic going out onto the outer lane of this belt. We have these circuits on the inside lane. That's what we need for the assembler 2s. Advanced circuits. And we also have a very fast crafting speed of 3.1.25, which plus 150, which is done by speed modules, a couple of activity modules, and a beacon in the middle, which just happens to reach all of them. So also here is a takeoff for the basic circuits, so that should give me basic circuits, and then we just repeat it all the way around. 2 of these tend to supply my base with all the circuits that I need. The only exception to this is the processing units, which eat up a hell of a lot of circuits, and they can drink my factory dry very quickly. So I'm going to go into my main production area. Well, as you can see, it's set around 6 assembly machines. On the end we've got a requester with a filter inserter with a assembly machine which goes into one passive chest in the middle. So down the bottom here is 1, up here is 2, and you can set each assembler to whatever you want to assemble. So these ones are set for greens, you've got blues down here, you got gears down here. You just mix up what ones you want. So reds, greens, we got the basic inserters there, yellow belts which make up the green ones right there, the red ones with the gears are there, and then we just got all the other ones, everything else we need all the way down. Some of the machines are level 3, assembler 3s and whatever. So I normally use 10 labs in everything I do. I find that to be a nice combination number. A few more assembly stuff down here. And then we have the small base storage chest system, which just keeps everything nice. And offline up here at the moment is the purple assembly, which is literally just activity modules galore and speed modules in there. Just connect it up to the power, and then my other circuit network is over there. I'm going to take you down to my oil setup. Here is my oil drop-off station. So we've got the fuel for the train, barrels in, barrels out. Down here we have the only offshore pump which I use for my entire oil network. So simply we have a hell of a lot of barrel tanks for storing crude. I only use 4 refineries with the advanced setup, and here's my unloading station for my oil barrels. You are doing, what's this here? Why have I got 2 empty oil tanks? It's because I found a problem. The unloading process of oil barrels is actually pretty fast. Each oil barrel offloads 25 crude oil. So I had a bottleneck here. I filled up both of these very quickly with a whole train wagon full of crude oil barrels in one big chunk, and I found out that the physical pipe going from here to here got clogged to the point of where the pipe was full up and the output of the assembler was also full up. So then I stuck an oil tank here to take the surplus. Then I worked out that because of that, the pipe just out of here and out of here got filled up and was a bottleneck again. So what to do? So I put a pump there and another one down here to push to empty these out into the main storage area, which means that these can fill these up very quickly without having to worry about the flow between the pipes, at least until these tanks get filled up. So we have there's the output from the coal fields. So we have the heavy oil, which I put into this, which I have a pump here which fills up this oil tank, which then the surplus will go up to here to be cracked into light. This heavy feeds this chemical factory to make lubricant, which 2 tanks are stored of it, which then go creates the express belts and the electric engines, which is made here, which is pretty simple. And then up here we have the cracking facility for the heavy light, into petroleum. We have another pump here to push it into the tanks, and we also have another pump here to take it from the pipes and push it into the tanks. But because of the way I'm working, I fill up the tanks because there's no output. Here we also have another pump to make sure to keep these pipes filled up with petroleum gas. And here's my plastic, which is just simply that, an output. I use passive chest for that one. Now we have sulfur, and we have my little connection between the sulfur and the sulfuric acid plant, and then quite a few sulfur tanks. Why do I do this when you can take it straight from there and only have one storage tank? It's because at the start of the game you get to have a lot of oil very quickly, because on this map I had quite a few oil pumps very close together. But oil's infinity. It's one of the infinite resources. So what I do is at the start I can fill up all this very quickly. So I've got sulfur in here, I've got a little bit of sulfur in all these. I've got sulfuric acid in there, sulfuric acid there. When my oil derricks get depleted, I just come here and click R and disconnect that. So now the output of my refineries and everything and all the cracking goes straight to plastic and will continue the plastic supply. While over here I've got a very, very large buffer of sulfuric acid, which will keep my other industries going. So I'm just going to go back here and turn it back. So sulfuric acid then goes over here to make the processing units, which are a pain in the arse because they require 20 basic circuits. And then up the top here we have my battery factory with another set of beacons for speed boosts. And that is pretty much the oil. One thing I am going to do is take a walk up to here and have a look at my defensive setup and the oil setup as well. My remote oil setup. As for the train station, for the defensive setup is here, which simply just has requesters for everything I find useful. Where's that train? Probably it's at the next station, so it's going to be a long way round. So let's just take this up. While I'm here, I'm going to show you this. On this particular map there was a couple of single oil derricks, oil spots. So I just done this as a setup. But this is just inside the logistics network, and this was just outside, so it just pumps one in down into the tank, in here. Then we just have a passive provider and a requester just to keep this filled up as it slowly ticks over oil. I think there's about 2 or 3 of them. There's two at the top here and one down inside my solar array. I'm not going to bother showing you a solar array because I think everybody knows what they pretty much look like. I'm going to use my little time speeds to speed up time a little bit to get over to here. So this is my defensive system. Basically, only independent roboports, laser defences with the wall and a gap, radar here, and a train station which has got limited stuff to take off. You only really need to keep repair packs here, but I keep the others here because just in case I need them when I want to extend outwards. So this just spurs off the main line so that you don't run into any train snarls while you're waiting. I'm going to pop up here to this. And you're wondering what this is. Oh, there's a bit of red wire, but this is my idea of a remote oil system. At the top here we've got 3 oil derricks with a storage tank. The storage tank was only really needed at the start because the oil derricks could make more oil than what I could quite quickly put into barrels. So how this works is there is a smart inserter taking 40 barrels off. The 40 barrels will go off of the train into some chests. And in the chests and in this chest there is so that there only ever is so many barrels here. This limits the amount of barrels in this network, and this speeds up the train. So they go up to here into this chest, which is also linked up. Then these go into assembler, and which just fills them up with oil. Then they come back out again when they're filled up with oil and go into this chest, waiting for the train to come back around, which is already one there. So we have a limit of how many barrels we've got in the network, regardless of where they are in the system, and then we take it off and put it back on the train again, which I think is a nice way of making sure that you don't have 50,000 barrels sitting at this station. And the train just comes around and fills up that one, fills up the barrels and takes out the full ones. So that is my base, or at least my version 9 base, which is now I'm showing in version 10. I'm going to take you a slow skim around of the outside walls. I'll put the map up as well. You can see it's quite big. You get a scale of it. All the walls themselves are defended with the same as all the others, and because of the logistics train keeping the repair packs up, fighters will never get through, will never damage the walls fast enough to get through. And there's a couple of remote radar posts spread out. Just mainly looking for expansions. There's also some talk on the forums about armor design, so here's my modular armor design: 2 reactors, half a dozen batteries, and 3 assist units. So thank you for watching. I'll put this up on the forum. Enjoy.